Hey everybody, Shawn P. Greene. Listen, I'm just figuring this out, so don't kill the messenger. I got a I got a lot of experience doing some of this stuff, but not not like I said. Listen, your people, my people, we family. So there goes that. I don't know what you guys think, but that's what I think. I'm going to just zoom in a little bit on myself. My name is Shawn P. Greene. I got the Shawn P. Greene Show behind me. I should put that up there now. There you go. Nope, that's the front part, but that's okay. We'll just put that up there for a second, and this goes in the back. There you go. So there you go, Shawn P. Greene Show. All right, so I'm on Rumble right now, and I'm not screaming for huge amount of views right now because I want to try out this wonderful platform, and I believe I'm gonna do well with this, but I'm not sure how well. So I just want to say, first of all, I'm grateful for all those people who have signed up for my website, ShawnPGreene.com, and also for the YouTube, the Facebook. There's a lot of other links. If you go to ShawnPGreene.com, you will see all the links for excuse me, for all the parts of my websites. I do a lot of teaching. Most of that I don't do online. Most of it I do in-house at the Bread of Life Church in South Buffalo, which is bolbuffalo.org if you want to know where that is. But if you're in the Buffalo area, you'll know that it's in South Park Avenue near McCamley. It's actually that corner. And if you're not from the Buffalo area, we're in the Southern District of Buffalo, the city of Buffalo. We're just north of Lackawanna and just west of West Seneca. And of course, Cheektowaga is not too far behind. So South Buffalo, it's got pretty much 2 zip codes. It's got its own subsections within South Buffalo. I think you can call the area I live on Seneca Cas, although we're probably about a mile from that area. Seneca Bailey is another close by crossroad. And Seneca Babcock, another neighborhood along this Seneca Street corridor. That's where I reside. But the Bread of Life is on the South Park Avenue corridor, just south from the Bailey Avenue ending. For those that you understand that Bailey Avenue is a very long street north and south of the city of Buffalo. And it goes into Amherst as well. All right, enough about that. The big thing I want to just kind of spew out today is the no King's Day thing. I think it's interesting that you have a bunch of people who are protesting a king, and yet we are in a republic. We're in a democracy, sort of. But we're not in a monarchy, so we do not have a king anyways. We haven't had a king since 1776, to my recollection. Now, I'm not the greatest of historians, but I'm pretty sure that's when they had a king last in this land, or at least the 13 original colonies. I don't believe Buffalo was a part of that area yet. I believe Amsterdam or Holland owned this area along this Lake Erie coast, of which Buffalo is at the very end of. The easternmost township of Lake Erie is Buffalo, New York. The westernmost is Detroit, Michigan area. Toledo, Ohio, as well. And right in the middle is you got Cleveland, Ohio. So we were predominantly a French territory. I believe the French king at the time, maybe one of the Louis. That I don't know. I'm sorry, but I think it was King Charles the First, who was the King of England at the time. You know, I got internet here, so it's not too hard to look up stuff. So let me just check it out. World leaders in 1776. So come along with me. All right. World leaders 1776. Here's a list of state leaders. Well, that's not what I was looking for. Well, maybe the state. I don't know if they mean like a United States or okay, within the Holy Roman Empire. Okay, here we go. All right, let's look at it together. I think I can show this display. If I'm not mistaken. Let me just see if I can find this. Capture, display capture. Is this behind it? Yes, that's why. There you go. Okay, so here is Africa. Here's all the kings, 1700s. Okay, if you want to look them up. Congo, Matamba, Angola, Portuguese Angola. All right, Cameroon, Chad. These were all the empires during the 1770s. Congo. All right, the East, Great Lakes area. Well, the Great Lakes is not our Great Lakes. According to this, the Great Lakes would be closer to the like northern India, I think. Kingdom of Burundi, Mombasa, the Pate Sultanate. All right, maybe not so much. Nope, that's all Africa. All right, so we're still in the continent of Africa. Indian Ocean, North Central Libya. Okay, these are all according to the African continent. Botswana, the West. All right, that's not the West. This is West Africa. All right, be patient. I'm trying to figure out where is everything. Caribbean, oh, Americas. Here we go. Let's look at the U.S. See if I can find U.S. here. United States. Okay. First Continental Congress. U.S. colonies, presidents. So, according to the Congress, the president of the Congress, never even thought of discovering that, but Peyton Randolph, Henry Middleton, Second Congress a year later, it looks like. Peyton Randolph, once again. John Hancock, Henry Lawrence, John Jay, Samuel Huntington. Okay. But it doesn't show kings. It just shows Congress, the United States. Okay. Well, George Washington was the first president. Of course, we knew in 1789. But they were working on that Articles of Confederation for a while. All right. The Cherokee Nation. Now that's another municipality. Little Turkey was first beloved man of the Cherokee people. 1794, he became the first principal chief of the original Cherokee Nation. So, interesting fact. Fun fact. Okay, but I think that's not what I was looking for. All right. World Kings in U.S. Let's just do King of USA 1775. Let's do that. Okay. George Washington. He wasn't a king. They actually, as far as I understand, they wanted to make George Washington a king. He would have been King George the First of the Americas, but that didn't work out. Yeah, so Mad King George? No. Yeah, I thought it was King George. I don't know what's this all about. Man, I really need to know my history. All right, I don't want to bore you anymore with this interesting topic, but I just want to let you know we haven't had a king since before the USA was established. The 13 colonies coming together, forming a nation. We haven't had a king, and yet we have all these people who it's great because they're Americans. All these people have the thought that they have to protest a king, which we don't have. We have the balance of, the powers between three branches. We don't have one branch running everything. So we're not even a dictatorship. And we have a Congress. We have a Supreme Court. And we have a system called checks and balances. So we don't even have a king. And yet we're protesting having a king. Now, which countries have a king? Well, let's look. Trusty Yahoo that nobody goes to anymore. List of current monarchs. Okay, here we go. I'm going to show you just what Wikipedia is telling us. Okay? If you don't mind. We got 43 sovereign states in the world with a monarch as a head of state. 43. So, no King's Day. Hopefully, they are listening in these countries. There are 13 in Asia, 12 in Europe. 12 in Europe. Wow, I didn't realize that. I know Kingdom of England, of course. Europe, 9 in the Americas. Okay, I didn't know that either. And 6 in Oceania. Surprisingly, there's only 3 in Africa. I thought for sure there was more monarchies still in Africa. So the Americas have more kings or some monarchical figures running things, and only 3 in Africa. So that's very interesting. Let's see. King Charles III is the monarch of the Commonwealth of England, Commonwealth realms, British Empire. Of course, the British Empire has lost a lot of its steam since World War One, really, but World War II pretty much did them in, and little by little, the colonized states have been given freedoms. India was one of them specifically. So 1947, I think, was many of them kind of asked for independence. Let's see, what other Europeans? Andorra, Belgium, Denmark, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, and Spain, and Sweden are fully democratic states in which the monarch has a limited, largely or entirely ceremonial role. So there's your answer to all these other nations. They really don't have the power that they used to have. Although they do have some power, they don't have the what is it, totalitarian type of position. So, let's see. Others. Okay, Monaco. Okay, so the Muslim monarchs. All right. Brunei. I don't even know where that's at. Southeast Asia. Okay. I know where that's at. Oman, very southern part of the Arabian Peninsula, and Saudi Arabia, which I did know about that. But I also thought Jordan was also, yes. Let's see. United Arab Emirates and Qatar, also on that Arabian Peninsula, are classified as mixed, meaning there are representative bodies of some kind, but the monarch retains most of his powers. So there is very influential monarchy going on in there. So the No Kings protest should go against United Arab Emirates and Qatar as well on the list, with Saudi Arabia, Oman, and Brunei. Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, Malaysia, and Morocco are constitutional monarchs, but their monarchs still retain more substantial powers than the European equivalents. So they do have a lot of influence in something. I don't know if it's policies or if it's writing a pen for a law or what. I don't even know. I don't even know how those things work. But I do know how some have worked in the past where verbally all you had to say something and it became a law, like in the old Persian Empire. And the law cannot be broken once the king proclaims something. Nowadays, everything has got to be in writing, because people just are not. People just, I don't know. I think words make them feel empowered if you have to enforce the law. So I don't know. But that's how laws are in our country. They're not like that. Donald Trump can make executive orders. But we also have two other branches. The legislative branch made up of Congress and the Senate, the House and the Senate. And then we also had the Supreme Court made up of 9 people appointed by the presidents over years. Now, granted, almost everything is a Republican leaning, so not too many people are going to argue with the Republican president, but they still have the power to veto and to come against his rulings. And you have the regular district courts that are always fighting him for something, that are, if they're leaning more to a left-leaning society that they're looking for. So, you can have some pushback on all that, but that's how that works. East and South Asia. So Bhutan, Cambodia, Japan, and Thailand have constitutional monarchs, where the monarch has a limited or ceremonial role. Okay, same thing. So not as powerful as a real king. It's funny, what's that one song? I just can't wait to be king. Is that the Lion King? I think that was Lion King. My Disney's way off, so you got to help me. Help me out, man. Other sovereign monarchs. 4 monarchies do not fit into one of the above groups by virtue of geography or class of monarchy. Tonga, Eswatini, Lesotho, and Vatican City. Okay, there's Vatican City right there. Vatican City, now that's got a king known as Popa, father of all Catholics around the world. It's an autonomous city. It's its own country. It's called a city, but it's its own city-state, which nobody really has that kind of status around this world. Very few, if any. Not even Washington D.C., although it's its own district within the federal government. It's not its own country. But it's funny. It seems like once the politicians are voted in and start working from there, they tend to feel like they're in another country, and they probably treat it that way. Anyways, um, there's also some non-sovereign monarchies. Malaysia, Yogyakarta Sultanate in Indonesia, Emirates of the United Emirates, Sultanate of Sulu, Afro-Bolivian monarchy, Order of Malta, traditional chieftaincies of Nigeria, and kingdoms of Uganda. These are some of those examples. So there are some kings that are sovereign and non-sovereign. One thing I didn't notice on this list, United States. It's not on that list of anybody who's got a king or a monarch of any kind, or even a non-sovereign monarch. Vatican City, however, Pope Leo, who's from the Chicagoland area, is the Pope. He's got absolute power. Look at that. So if you're saying no kings, you should be talking about the Pope. Charles III in the UK. Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan in United Arab Emirates. The list goes on and on. Rama the 10th in Thailand. Felipe the 6th in Spain. Charles III is predominant all over the old British Empire. Mohammed the 6th in Morocco. Albert II in Monaco. You see, you got all these different places. I don't see the USA on this, so why are we protesting no kings in a country that has no kings anyways? It's a pointless effort. It's an excuse to get off the couch because you can't pay your electric bills or whatever the problems are in your home. I'm not here to judge that. That's not my problem. But I do want to figure out what the heck is going on here. God bless America. And, sometimes it's like, if Americans ain't unhappy about one thing, they got to look for something else to be unhappy about. They want free Palestine. Palestine's free from Israeli occupation or bombardment. They finally freed all those 25 living hostages, still looking for some of the older bodies. But immediately, Palestine, or the Palestinian people, who colluded with non-Palestine people, were executed by Hamas. That is considered a terrorist group. And that's how they maintain power. Oh, they don't have a king. Oh, that's okay. But they do have an absolute monarch style of system ran by other entities outside of the terrorist cell known as Hamas. They're actually more or less given orders by probably more likely the Ayatollah. So you want to talk about monarchs. The Ayatollah is not a monarch. He's an absolutist in his doings with the proxy wars that he's created against Israel through Hamas, through Hezbollah, through Yemen, the Houthis in Yemen. So, again, I'm not lump summing all peoples from all these nations that these terrorist groups are in, because I know many people from many other countries. Some of them are really genuine people, and they really believe that, their faith in Muhammad is gonna give them wisdom. Their trust in the Quran and what the words were written. They really do believe that that's the truth. Some of them have been coerced into following it, or else death. And they've seen over the years family, friends, colleagues, whatever, being beheaded because the Quran allows it. Yes. So you have a vacuum of democracy, a vacuum of no power, really, that's democratic in Palestine. Yet Israel has Palestinians living amongst them, people that identify as Palestinians. They even have homosexuality, the capital in the Middle East being Tel Aviv, living amongst their society. There's a lot of things that are going on in Israel that you'd be surprised. Another thing is, you would think, well, Christianity comes from the Judeo system of belief in Yahweh as God, and you will be wrong to think that they would embrace Christianity also. Just as they haven't embraced it 2,000 years ago when Jesus himself was walking on the earth, Christianity as a whole is not accepted as a way to worship. On average, I believe it's less than 2% Christianity in Israel, but it has a secular nature, and many of your Jewish people that live there, you would say Jewish, I would just say Israeli people, are more secular than they are Orthodox in their faith in Judaism. Calling somebody a Jew is very interesting, because you would think that calling someone a Jew, you would expect them to worship Yahweh on a regular basis, go to a synagogue, listen to the words, adhere to the words, and try to do the best they can to worship Yahweh. You would think that that's the 99%. Let's just be conservative. Let's just say 60%. Okay, I don't know how packed synagogues are in Israel, but you got mosques, you got Druzes, you got a lot of other religions that exist, but yeah, Hamas is a terrorist group. Even IDF, some people in the IDF who were not, they weren't practicing a good plan to treat everybody with respect. Christians get persecuted by Orthodox people, and most people in Israel, it's okay with that. They're okay with that, even though they want them to exist, because they don't want to upset all the Christians and all the rest of the world that do favor Israel becoming a nation. So they don't want to, hurt people's feelings, so to speak. But anyways, what else you want to talk about? Anything? There's a lot going on. There's no kings. That's the bottom line with this broadcast today. There are no kings. There are no unchecked powers in this country. Anytime Donald Trump does something, he still has to clear a lot of things with the people, because they're going to vote, eventually they'll vote for the next election if J.D. Vance becomes the candidate or not. The power to vote as soon as Trump's out of office, if a lefty gets turned in to the office, or if he gets voted in to the office, executive powers were going to be used to cancel all of his executive powers. To me, it's just like it's a childish battle of whose ideas are better than the others to run a country. Hey, but that's great. That's what makes America great, is that we have people checking each other. Left, right, center, doesn't matter. If somebody and a majority doesn't like what's going on and they vote out a certain party, or somebody specifically they don't like in the party, it is what it is. But the powers that be and those that try to influence American politics outside of the government, who wants to partner with the U.S. to take resources from us and decentralize our system of government so that somebody else can influence outside of the country. That's really the goal of many other countries. They want the wealth that America has. They want the resources, and they want their people to also want to be able to come to this country and be a part of it somehow. So, anyways, I don't want to talk too much longer. I have a lot of other plans of some ideas, things that I'd like to do in the next couple weeks. But I just wanted to jump on here, talk a little bit, and just set up this Rumble platform a little bit and let you know kind of what my thoughts are and where I'm headed. I got to build this place, studio session, all kinds of stuff I got to do. And it'd be nice if I had a little bit of help. So if anybody wants to be a producer of some sort of a podcast, you want to jump on board and be a part of it, feel free to come check me out, Shawn P. Greene, ShawnPGreene.com. It's not that hard to find. P. Greene with an E at the end. And that's my website. Got a lot of fun stuff on here. A couple interviews that I've done, some projects that I've done. I'm into studying the Bible more than anything lately. Again, I lead Bible studies at the Bread of Life Church. Monday nights for the men's Bible study. Excuse me. Currently in the book of Acts. Every third Tuesday we have a veterans meeting in the Western New York area. Also at the Bread of Life. And also in the Bread of Life at 10 a.m. Wednesday mornings. We do a Bible study, open Bible study for whomever wants to show. And we are in the book of Leviticus. So, which is could be a sleeper if you don't really pay attention to each chapter. But I think I want to say I make it interesting. Not because of me, but because I know that the subject matter might be less than inspiring to some people. However, it was a good, so far we're in chapter 16 coming up, and it's a good lesson. And there's more to it that you'll miss if you don't read it, which are little nuggets here and there that are amazing. Another independent study that I'm doing is, excuse me, the works of Josephus. So that's my next project of learning more about him. And one of the first things talking about his history is that he was instrumental in doing what he could to keep the Hasmoneans from rebelling against the Romans, because he knew the Romans were outmatched militarily. And so he says there was no changing the minds of people with the madness of desperation, I think it was called. Yeah, the madness of desperation. I think that was the phrase. And so, when somebody is desperate, they'll do anything to try to help and defend themselves. And maybe you can say that about people on the left that are trying to resist any kind of authority, law and order, if you will. They do everything they can to show their rebellious hand, and sometimes they're right to protest, but they're not right to riot and attack federal agents. You know, America has policies, and you got people that are here to try to help make sure those policies are carried out. If you don't like the policies, then you vote in the people that you like in your municipalities of the policies that you would prefer. I watched the movie Civil War, so that's my last thought. I watched the movie Civil War. I have to say it was pretty boring, but to me, it was almost as if it was emotionally trying to tug at the heartstrings of those people who are on the left who hate people who are on the right. And it painted the picture of a lot of people on the right as super callous and bigoted, and I'm not saying that doesn't exist, because I do believe so. But they definitely were trying their hardest to make the emotional connection to their rebellion being the standard, and that they were righteous and rising up against an evil nation in their minds. So this Civil War, to me, seems like a war cry to all those outside that sphere of influence. And, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think that they're doing their best to try to incite violence in this country and divide us. So I do believe, and if you go to the Bread of Life Church's YouTube channel, you'll see, again, bolbuffalo.org, you'll see that that my message was about how it is a possibility the USA could be split in two. So, God forbid, hope it doesn't happen, but the way that they're trying to signal people to be this way in Hollywood, to me, is a sign that they're trying for it. They're they're doing their best. So, anyways, I'll let you guys go. I just wanted to say hi, goodbye. Thank you guys for listening and watching, and I'll see you soon. Shawn P. Greene Show, ShawnPGreene.com. Keep it locked.